What is up, guys? In today's video, I'm going to be going over what I think the best shotgun is in Fortnite Chapter 7. As always, if you guys do enjoy this video, find it helpful, informative, or interesting, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you like to see more, comment down below which shotgun you like most so far this season, and if you guys would like to use my code in the item shop when getting anything, it is EvolvedJake, just like my channel name is, and it is underneath the webcam at all times. Also, keep in mind, this video is going to be focused mainly on zero build mode, and I'm making this pretty early on into the season, so if you're watching this weeks down the line, it's definitely possible there's been balance changes, because that's just kind of how Fortnite always is. So this season, we have the Twin Hammer shotgun, which is going to be the high fire rate spammy shotgun, and then the Iron Pump shotgun, which is going to be the slower, hard-hitting shotgun. Those two archetypes are pretty much always covered in every Fortnite loot pool, and Chapter 7 is no different. And I think this might be some of the better balance we've seen between the two shotguns to start a Fortnite chapter in quite some time. But I do think the Twin Hammer shotgun stands out for zero build. As I said, this is this season's spammy shotgun, and I think for most zero build players, this is going to be the choice by far that is best for you. Zero build kind of always sways towards the auto shotgun being better. If the auto shotgun and the pump were equal, the auto would probably dominate zero build because of the way the game mode plays out. A lot of build mode, the pump kind of dominates because of how building works, but without that, if the spammy shotgun is close to the pump in effectiveness, it wins out typically just because of how aggressive you can play with it and how much utility it kind of provides you in your loadout. The damage on the Twin Hammer shotguns is actually nothing that great, but it's good enough for what it is, and the fire rate at 2 shots per second is very, very good for the current loot pool. And this weapon is actually fully automatic, meaning you can just hold down the shoot button and it will fire at the fastest rate. And a lot of people don't expect that to be the case with these Twin Hammer shotguns because it's 2 shotguns dual wielded. But you can just hold down the fire button and it will shoot very quickly. And the high fire rate of the shotgun makes it a pretty easy weapon to use. It's very forgiving. If you miss a shot, it's not the end of the world because another shot is coming up right again, you know? If you get mid damage on a shot, it's not the biggest deal because the fire rate is so high. And this also makes it to where you don't really require a spray weapon with this shotgun, freeing up more room in your inventory. And it also makes it to where you don't have to worry about weapon swapping in any situation. You can just hold down the shoot button, worry about your aim, worry about your movement, maybe just walk forward at the enemy and just dish out shot after shot after shot. And the pressure you can put on an enemy in close range fights when using these is probably the biggest bonus for it, in my opinion. Just the way fights play out with the Twin Hammer shotgun, you put a lot of pressure on the enemy. And with how good the Deadeye AR is this season at getting opening tags on somebody, like if you catch somebody off guard, you're probably going to get really good damage on them with that AR. And then if you're able to just like shockwave on them with this spammy shotgun, the amount of pressure you have on the enemy in that fight makes it really hard for them to fight back, and people go down really quickly. And the range on the Twin Hammer shotgun is not that great, but for how a lot of people kind of tend to play with spammy shotguns, is not a huge issue. This weapon rewards aggressive play, not slow play, kind of playing for chip shots. You want to get up on the enemy, get in their face, and just throw out a bunch of shots, and you'll probably get that kill. It's a very easy to implement playstyle, and it's also a very, people would say, brainless playstyle. Like, it's just rinse and repeat the same thing. You don't have to make very many decisions in a fight in terms of like whether or not it's worth swapping, whether or not it's going back into cover. You just throw out your shots and you'll get eliminations. Another kind of lacking attribute for the Twin Hammer shotguns is going to be that the crosshair is pretty large. And what that does is it makes your damage more inconsistent, because shotguns in Fortnite deal damage based on how many pellets you hit from the shot. So the larger the crosshair is, the more spread there's going to be from your pellets, and it's going to be more likely that you miss some shots. And a lot of this messes people up with shotguns that have large reticles in Fortnite, because they put that dot that's in the center of your reticle, they put that on the opponent's head because they want to go for a headshot and get extra damage. But what that does with a large crosshair shotgun is it puts the entire top half of your crosshair just above the opponent on air. A lot of times with the larger reticle shotguns, it's best to kind of put the dot on the upper chest area, neck area. That way the top of your reticle is hitting their head, and the bottom of your reticle is kind of hitting their chest. That way you get some headshot damage, but you just maximize how many pellets you go for. And that's another way in which the spammy shotgun is just very easy to use, because you basically just have to go for body shots, hold the shoot button down, throw out a bunch of shots, and you'll get damage on the enemy and you'll get eliminations. And I'm sure if you've been playing at all during Chapter 7, you're well aware of how good the twin hammer shotgun is. And that's why I said I think it's going to be the best choice for most players in zero build because of how easy it is to use and how much pressure it puts out in a fight. And the pressure it puts out in a fight makes it very hard for the pump user to play the game. Because if you get in a fight where one player is using the iron pump and a spray weapon and one person is using the twin hammer shotgun, the pump player has to be basically perfect, and the twin hammer shotgun player basically just has to be okay. They just have to hit body shots, hold down the shoot button. Their odds of winning that fight are very good. And that's the reason why I think the game plays out the way it does right now, and why I said the twin hammer shotgun is going to be the best for most zero build players, because it's just solid and very easy to use. The iron pump shotgun I actually think is really good as well, and that's why I said like the balance of the season between both these shotguns are good, but with how it plays out, the twin hammer shotgun I think is better. But the iron pump shotgun is very good, and especially if you get a high rarity of it, it's insane, because the max damage shot from a mythic will hit for 210, the gold 202, and then the purple 195. And while these damages aren't all one hits in zero build on a full HP opponent, because a full HP enemy has 250 health, it's good enough. Like if you hit 210 on somebody, you need 40 more damage, and that should basically just win you the fight, even versus a twin hammer shotgun. If you hit a perfect shot with this pump, it can just straight up win you the fight off that. But again, you have to hit a perfect shot in a situation where the twin hammer shotgun person just has to be okay. And the playstyle of the twin hammer shotgun, putting out a lot of pressure, that's why I focused on that, and being very chaotic, I think makes it harder for the iron pump user to hit a perfect shot. Also, when it comes to hitting these like perfect shots, even if it isn't quite a one hit, a lot of times it might be, because you may have already gotten opening AR damage on the enemy. So if you get 3 or 4 AR shots on somebody, shockwave onto them, hit a good pump shot, that might just be the kill right there. And that'd be a very quick and clean way to win fights. But again, it just requires more of the iron pump user, and it kind of requires them to be perfect at all times, especially when going against a twin hammer shotgun. And that's kind of the main problem with the pump this season. It's just more difficult to use. The body damage is okay, and you really need a good headshot to get good damage out of this weapon. And the fire rate is slow enough that you're probably going to want to swap to some sort of spray weapon between shots if you are having, a fight where the opponent is in your face. If you're playing behind cover and just getting chip shots, maybe you don't need to swap. But if you're having a, close quarter shotgun fight that's happening now, you're going to need to shoot your pump, swap to a spray weapon, and then swap back to the pump when it's ready to shoot again. And this puts you in a situation where you either run a dedicated spray weapon like one of the SMGs or the tac pistol, which takes an inventory slot that for something that you could have been using for extra mobility or extra utility, or you just use the Deadeye AR as your spray weapon, which is fine and it can get the job done, but it's nothing special at that role, and that's going to make it harder for you to outplay the twin hammer shotgun users, because if you hit like a mid pump shot and you're swapping to the Deadeye and then trying to swap back to the pump, the twin hammer shotgun probably already won that fight. So that's why I think the twin hammer shotgun is best. This problem I outlined with the pump is a problem that every pump shotgun ever has had in Fortnite in zero build, but what's different this season is just how good the twin hammer shotgun is. When we had the start of chapter 6 with the sentinel pump, a lot of people ran the sentinel pump and the hollow twister AR, and it was kind of a similar situation where I outlined where you needed a good headshot from the sentinel to get your good damage. And the hollow was an okay spray weapon, but not the greatest. But the reason why that worked well and was like the meta that pretty much everybody preferred was because the twin fire auto shotgun was just incredibly mid. The twin hammer shotguns are quite good. And so if you have both shotguns be quite good, the difficulty and inconvenience of the pump is something that's going to matter more, because a lot more people are going to be using the spammy shotgun. So as I said, I think both these shotguns are good, but how convenient and how easy the twin fire auto shock, or the twin hammer shotgun, is to use is why most people are going to prefer it. When it comes to mythics, both of these weapons have a mythic in chapter 7. You get the mythic twin hammer shotguns from the Brutus boss. There is no set locations for the bosses this season. They just end up where they end up. If you have a battle bus start, you can see the bosses jump out of the map and try to follow them to where they land. But either way, it's just kind of random where they go. So it's not like you need to land at one POI to get the mythic dual shotguns every game. The mythic iron pump is at ripped tides. You have to lift this weight, and then if you do that, you have a 33% chance of getting the mythic iron pump shotgun. So again, it's not something that's guaranteed that you can play around every game. But if your aim is very good and you're consistent under pressure, the iron shotgun, especially in the higher rarities, is solid enough. It's just harder and more inconvenient to use. The twin hammers, super easy to use. One final thing I want to talk about is third partying this season, because as I've outlined, the twin hammer shotgun is what most people will prefer for zero build. And so a lot of fights are going to be enemies trading damage with the twin hammer shotgun, and it has a very distinct sound. And if you hear, two players going at it, or, in solos, it'll be two players, in squads, it'll be, whole team. Either way, if everyone's using this spammy shotgun, fights are very messy. Both players are likely to take a good amount of damage in the fight, and this just makes third partying those situations more OP for the person third partying. So if I hear people going at it with the twin hammer shotgun, I am very keen to third party that, because the winner of that fight should definitely be weak because of how easy the twin hammer shotgun is to use. But that is going to be it for this video. As always, if you enjoyed this, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you'd like to see more, comment down below which shotgun is your favorite, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.